What is a woman and what does she go through? Tracking my menstrual cycle, day. Today is technically day 5, but I did not get around to uploading the video for yesterday, so that's what I'm doing today, and I will do day 5 later today. So day 4 is typically getting close to the end of the follicular phase. We discussed in the previous video that day 1 through 14 is the first phase of the menstrual cycle. It's called the follicular phase. Day 1 through 7, the first part of that phase, is your menstrual cycle. That is the actual mens, the time of your bleeding. The time length and the amount of bleeding varies for everyone. Typically, they say that every woman that bleeds and the amount that would fill an eggshell. So you think like a chicken egg. Think of that being filled with blood. Supposedly, that's the amount of blood that you lose, no more. Sometimes it appears to be more. Sometimes it may appear to be less. You're not just losing blood when you're having your period. Your whole uterine wall is actually dying and shedding, so there's a lot of tissues and cells. If you are bleeding an obviously excessive amount or for extended periods of time, do go see your gynecologist. Go see your doctor, your primary care physician, whoever you speak to on a regular basis about your health, because there may be other underlying issues contributing to whatever may be going on. So for me yesterday, I am still in my mens. I am still bleeding. Yesterday was probably the second heaviest day for this week. It seemed to be a little more clotty. So I can tell that the rest of that lining is actually pulling from the wall and is pushing itself out. And as gross as that may be for people, that is a healthy thing. It's a healthy sign. It means that my uterus is doing what it's supposed to be doing. My hormones are working the way they should be working in order to get my uterus to do what it's supposed to be doing. With PCOS, if you're like me and you have PCOS, this could be completely off the wall. You could have a lot of extra blood. If you go an extended time sometimes between your cycles, so sometimes I don't have my mens every 28 days or even every 4 weeks. Sometimes it's every 6 weeks and sometimes it's 8 weeks. When I was in high school, I would not have a period for like 8 to 18 months at a time. So whenever I did finally have that mens where things were shedding, it was extremely heavy and painful. So while my flow was medium to heavy and a little bit clotty, I had some cramping, but most of my cramping was gone by afternoon yesterday, and some of my energy had already started to return. So we discussed that during the follicular phase, our estrogen and our progesterone both drop right before our mens begins, right? And that's what causes our uterus to contract, and our wall, our lining that is inside our uterus, where an embryo would be implanted. If there's not an embryo, then that lining sheds, dies, and is excreted through the vagina. That is our mens. That is our period. That's what that is. So by now, close to day 5, 7, those levels are starting to gradually go back up to prepare a new space. So what do we do? What do we do with the blood? If you're like me and we're taught to just put a pad in your underwear or a tampon, generally women usually use pads or tampons depending on the flow. Sometimes use both. I personally never use them. I was never able to get comfortable with inserting them, so I just never did. I was a pad girl. Throughout my journey, I have learned how bad pads actually are, and that is what we're going to talk about in today's moon time. There are so many different options for women during their menstrual cycles. There are pads, there are tampons, there's underwear, there's free bleeding, there are cups that you can wear inside to catch the blood. You can free bleed. Did I already mention free bleeding? You can free bleed. There are lots of different options. Everyone is comfortable with different things, and sometimes you have to try different things to find out what works best for you. Some people are more active during their mens than others. Some people should be less active than others during their mens. So really, it's all just on your personal preference and your health history. But we're going to cover a few things that I like to recommend and what I don't recommend and why I don't recommend them. So to begin, do you know that there are chemicals in menstrual products? So many companies use chemicals throughout the entire process of creating a menstrual product, whether it's from creating the fiber, the packaging, the absorbency part itself. They have been putting chemicals and aromas, fragrances in pads to make them more appealing to people. Reading the ingredients list on a Tampax box isn't the first thing that you think of to do when you pick some up. But if you take the time to do the research, you will see so many harmful chemicals in your everyday common menstrual products that most women use on a regular basis. Your mom, your aunts, your sisters are gradually messing their bodies up just by using these things made by society for society. Even though these chemicals may not have an immediate and aggressive effect on you when you use them, they take a toll over time the more and more you use them. Even by simply affecting your pH balance, that will over time affect your overall health. So why not start at the root and take care of your sacred space by protecting it with quality products? So, what are some safe quality products to use and where can you find them? You can find these honestly at most places that you shop, including Walmart. I highly recommend ordering them online. You can usually get better deals and it comes in bulk. And you can even shop on Etsy for handmade items. I always suggest 100% pure cotton. Find an organic brand with the chlorine and fragrance-free label. That will be your biggest sign. You can also find the same cotton, organic, fragrance, and chlorine-free tampons. My personal favorite is the period underwear. There's a few different brands that you can find. Thinks is a good brand. It, I believe, is a polyester blend with cotton, which makes it a little more stretchy. But there's another brand I also believe it's just called Period, and it is 100% cotton. They do not leak. They do not smell. You could wear them all day, and it would absorb everything according to your flow, and you would not have to worry about any odors. They're super easy to clean. When you're ready to take them off, rinse them out in cold water just like you would anything else with a little bit of blood on it. Let them dry, toss them in the washing machine, and they're good to go for another use. And it's the same with the reusable cotton pads. I love these. I order them all the time from different makers on Etsy. I love supporting different creators, so Etsy is a really great place to find these in bulk. They probably are the more pricey option out of all the ones that I've mentioned, typically because they're hand sewn, but they're usually made very well. I've had some that I've had for a few years already, and they're still holding up. They're easy to clean. They create no odors. They do not mold or have any issues whatsoever. And they're the same concept as the period underwear. So when you're done using them, rinse them out in cold water. Carry a dry bag with you in case you need to change them out and about during the day. And then when you get home, toss them in the washer just like you would anything else, and they're ready to go again. I have found since using my cotton pads and my cotton period underwear, my period cramps have reduced tremendously because my body is not absorbing harmful chemicals and fragrances that is affecting my hormones and my pH balance. Not to mention, I have actually saved quite a bit of money, even though I may be spending a few more dollars per set of underwear or per set of cotton pads. I'm able to use them over and over again for multiple years at a time rather than spending $10 to $20 on a package of pads every single month. I hope this video will inspire you to take charge of your moon time, embrace your menstrual cycle, and learn to love yourself today.